AM 630.
WMAL. Mrs. Brown, you've got a lovely daughter. Girls as sharp as her are something rare.
Now, do you recognize that voice?
But it's sad. She doesn't love
That's Peter Noone from Herman's Hermits, and we've asked him to be on the program today because we're remembering the life and times of one Dick Clark. Peter, how are you today?
I'm great, Brian O'Brien.
Brian, we'll take it.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, so tell me about the first time you met Dick Clark and the experience you had when Herman's Hermits went on the Dick Clark program.
Well, you know, we actually did a Dick Clark Caravan of Stars tour with, we were the opening act, and it was Little Anthony and the Imperials,
Wow.
Bobby V, Reparata and the Delrons, the Ikettes, Billy Stewart, Round Robin, and they put us all on a bus, and it was the time of incredible enthusiasm about everything from music. There was a guy, George Hamilton IV, who had Abilene, Abilene.
Right.
And he got up every night and did that one song. I mean, it was just... And we started out the tour as the opening act, and we ended up after like 2 weeks, we had 3 records in the top 20.
Yeah.
And then we became the headliners and started playing stadiums. So, and Dick was always like... He was very enthusiastic about music, and he was a great raconteur. He would constantly tell us stories about what happened. Like, apparently some Philadelphia band showed up at his show, and
Oh, Peter, are you there still? Peter, if you hear us, I hope you'll call back because we've lost the connection. He's in London.
He's actually on a cell phone somewhere in the UK.
England, right?
I don't even know if he's in London, but that's very cool. I mean, can you imagine being on that bus, being on that tour?
Yeah.
All those guys in there, being young like that and traveling around. I guarantee you there's some awesome stories that you can tell.
Yeah.
when it comes to that.
And, you know, their experience was very typical of many of the artists who became associated with Dick Clark. They would somehow come on and be with him, or they would go on a tour with him, and then they would just go crazy. I mean, they would just blow up almost overnight, and then their songs are being played on Top 40 radio, which was the dominant radio force during that time. And then you became huge. Peter, back on the line?
Yeah, we got
Hey, Peter, back. You were talking about Dick Clark and your relationship with him.
yeah, in England, cell phones have just come out, and I'm driving around the London Circular Road, M25. Yeah, he was just a great music enthusiast. You know, in a time when every band would look to him. If he played your record, you had a shot, and he would introduce you to radio, and I loved his enthusiasm, and he was a great raconteur. He told me loads and loads of stories about, you know, what in those days were oldies but goodies acts, which is very funny now. I'm one.
Yeah, right. Well, what impact did he have on the British invasion?
Oh, he was 100% of my version of it, because he, you know, I mean, he didn't get the Beatles, which I thought was funny, but when he realized he missed it, every one of his tours at the time had a British invasion act on it. There was one with a band called the Hullabaloos, direct from England, British invasion stars Hullabaloo. Well, there was no band in England called Hullabaloo. Some American guys had got together and formed a band.
Is that right?
But there were crisscross tours. We would be on one bus and we'd run into a tour with like the Zombies on it, or Peter and Gordon. In those days there were no truck stops, but I think it was like there were these places that sold pancakes on the side of the road, and everyone would pile off these buses. 40 people on the bus, no beds. Everybody sat there for the whole trip, and if you were last on the bus, you got to sit next to Round Robin, who weighed like 380 pounds. So Round Robin and I became best friends.
Yeah, I bet.
And Billy Stewart was on the bus. It was an absolutely magical period for music. The radio, every day we'd go to a new radio station, and they'd play Mrs. Brown, You Got a Lovely Daughter. Right. And it was just that he was great. He was such a music enthusiast. He knew every musician, and he listened to the music and knew it. So I miss people like that in the business. Now, everybody's a naysayer nowadays, aren't they?
I've heard people say that he was very generous. Did you have any experience in that regard?
No, I had the opposite experience, actually, because we were getting $500 a night for the tour. And he moved it into stadiums, and I think we said, you know, I think we deserve a bonus.
Yeah.
He sent everybody in the band $100 bonus for like an 80-day tour. And you know, in retrospect, I wish I hadn't cashed it, but I did now.
Yeah. You mentioned everybody's a naysayer in the music industry now. Why is that? And, you know, how has music been affected by the modern technology, especially iTunes and things like that?
Oh, well, I think that's good because now you can find music that you could never find before. You know, you used to go to the record store and you'd say, do you have the new Roger Whittaker, the album? And they would say, Roger Whittaker? Now you just go online and type his name in and you can find it. So I think it's good in a way, but I think the negative, now people get in the music business for the wrong reason. We never asked how much money we were getting paid before we left. I was there when somebody said to the Beatles, do you want to go to the Philippines? And they said, yeah, when?
Wow.
Did I lose you again?
No, you're still there.
Nowadays people would say, how much have they got? You know,
yeah.
So that kills it.
Yeah.
If it's about money, it used to be about the pure joy of singing and playing, and you know, loads of these oldies goodies acts.
All right.
Didn't make millions of dollars, but they had a great life. I would have paid for my life if Dick Clark had said, "Give me $500 a night and I'll let you on a tour," I would have given it to him.
You're right.
Yeah. Well, I look, you seem like a really good goose, and I just wonder if you will humor me. If I start it, will you finish it? You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
You'll jump in. I know you know exactly what to do. You ready? So I'll start it. H-A-N-R-Y.
Enery.
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 Enery, the eighth I am.
Yeah.
Enery, the eighth I am.
Bat it up. Well, I can die a happy man now. That's made my day. Hey, Peter Noone with Herman's Hermits. It is so good to have you here on the show this morning. Thanks for playing with us.
Good to talk to you both, Brian, and I know you'll never be a hermit.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Take care. Drive safely, would you?
Thank you, Ryan. Bye.
Bye.
See you later. That's very cool. That's very cool. You want to hear the real version?
Eighth I am, Ellery, eighth I am. I got married to the widow next door. She's been married 7 times before, and everyone was an Enery.
Enery.
Wouldn't have a Willie or a Sam.
No, sir.
There ain't no man, I'm Enery.
Enery, the eighth I am.
So that's very cool.
Second
Verse, same as the first. In fact, all 3 verses are exactly alike.
You got to sing with Peter Noone this week, and I sang with Marie Osmond last week.
Well, you did? I didn't know that. What did you sing?
I'm a little bit country.
She didn't really finish.
She's
a little bit country.
She's a little bit country.
You're
I'm a little bit of rock and roll.
She,
Although I was the one who actually said I'm a little bit country, so that kind of tells you a little bit about myself.